Hey, it's Scott Fox from Expert Website Reviews and ClickMillionaires.com. Today we're talking about Telework Blog. This is the new website from a Masterminds member from Saudi Arabia named Awais. And Awais, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, but you're our first member from Saudi Arabia, and I'm glad that you signed up for our free website tune-up community clinic, because today we're going to talk about some of the things that I think could help you improve the business that you're building here on your new website. Now, a bunch of our members have already come into the forum, of course, and offered a bunch of good suggestions. Tom and Brian and Lori and a bunch of other folks. And I see that you've made some changes even since we posted your clinic 2 weeks ago. And it's looking better all the time. So now I'm going to chime in with my suggestions about how you could turn Telework Blog into a growing and thriving, hopefully, online business for yourself in the Click Millionaire lifestyle that we talk about in my books and in the forum all the time. And hey, if you're somebody else who's watching this video later, maybe on YouTube or at expertwebsitereviews.com, well, that's where you can go to get a review like this for yourself. Expertwebsitereviews.com. You can order a review like this for yourself from me. And if you'd like one for free, you can come over to clickmillionaires.com to our free lifestyle business coaching forum and then upgrade to the Masterminds level. And we'll do this for you for free, both myself in a video and the rest of the community in the forum. This can be thousands of dollars worth of free usability and redesign advice that can really help you accelerate your success online. All right, so Telework Blog. So always your concept here, I really like the concept a lot, as we've talked about a bit in the forum. I think the concept of addressing people who are interested in telecommuting and teleworking is a really good one, and I think all our members agreed in their commentary in the forum as well. This seems to be a real growth area, and I think you're on the right track with the concept here. That's the good part. Now, the rest of this video will be about ways that we can change things to make them better. So let's start really with the concept. Telework is not a phrase that I have heard very often in English. Maybe this is how people refer to it in Saudi Arabia, perhaps, or maybe this is what you went to because telecommute or work from home, those sort of domain names were already taken. Those are all good reasons, but I have to be clear to you, telework is not a phrase that I know, and I don't know everything by any means, that's for sure. So if you have other reasons for this, why you chose that specific phrase, it'd be great to hear about it in the forum. And it might be too late already to change it because you've invested a lot of time, etc., etc. I get that. But I have to tell you, telework is, I guess I'd put it non-standard English. The phrases I would be familiar with would be telecommute or work from home. Those are the kind of biggest catchphrases for people who want to have a job and be employed, but do it through telecommuting or through the internet or through telephone work, etc., etc. So telework is a little off, and that's going to affect your long-term viability as a business because there are going to be fewer people searching for that phrase. Now, I could be wrong about this. Maybe telework, maybe you did some research and telework is like, it's charting up, right? And this is the new coming phrase, in which case you're perfectly positioned. But telework and blog together is not the obvious domain for me. If I was going to start something like this, it would be more like telecommutingsolutions.com or howtoworkfromhome.com or something like that, that was a little more either a sentence, which might match a search engine phrase that people use when they're looking for this kind of information, or would imply something a little more interesting than blog, quite honestly. Blog doesn't add much to this equation, even if telework was perfect, which it isn't. I don't know how many people search for a blog about something rather than solutions or answers or articles about something. Like even telework articles would be more interesting to me, or how to telework would be a lot more interesting to me. But again, those might all be taken, or you might have other reasons. But I get the sense that English may not be your first language, so I want to be real clear. Teleworkblog.com is real close. Like, I get the idea, but it isn't perfect. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to you, and of course we can brainstorm ideas or alternatives to that in the forum if you'd like to follow up on this. And of course, everything I say here we can talk about more in our Masterminds forum anytime. All right, there's me and all our other friends there to help you through revisions on all the suggestions I'm going to make today. All right, so enough about the name. Let's talk a little more about the content. And there, unfortunately, we run into another big problem. The content is the next thing we want to talk about, and I was impressed with the quality of these articles that you have here, and I see you've started adding at least occasionally some graphics, which I think Tom pointed out in the forum. I think that's important and is a good idea. The problem is that your articles, which are quite thorough and interesting, you're copying those. That's illegal. So maybe I'm hoping that you're doing this just as a temporary measure as you figure out kind of your strategy and you want to have some basic content there. That makes it a little more okay, but honestly, you are copying entirely the whole article from places like this site and here, the Desert News, and this one was from NPR, I think. Yeah, NPR. That's copyright infringement. And if those folks that own the rights to those articles see this, they can sue you. And you can get sued for every time you do that for, I think it's up to $150,000 per infringement. So, this is not legal advice, but I'd get that stuff down real quick. That's not the way to do this. And we can talk about other ways that you can borrow content like this and have it on your site. And the primary operating characteristic of that approach is not to take the whole thing. Now, you're doing the right thing in the sense that you're crediting these people and linking back to the original source, and that's good. It's very good. But taking the entire work means that people aren't going to click over and read it at the original source, and therefore you are hurting their business by offering this content here. So you got to stop doing this as soon as possible. I would go back through your blog, trim these down at least, and even better, of course, would be to write your own new stuff. Or if you want to repost things from other sources, you can go to places like articlesbase.com, and there's free article banks online where you can borrow articles and put them on your site with appropriate attribution, and those are provided on a royalty-free, copyright, non-infringing basis so that you can borrow them and do exactly what you're doing. But as far as I know, unless you have some private licensing scheme going here, you can't take things from the Desert News and NPR and just post them completely on your site. It's illegal, flat out, okay? There's not much of an in-between here when you're taking the entire work and putting on your site, okay? So stop, okay? Stop. Now, so what are some alternatives? Well, I just talked about articles. Okay, so you can borrow articles from other places that have been posted specifically for reposting. That's one way to do it, in which case they will have licensing instructions posted that tell you how far you can go and what you can do with it. You can also often take maybe the first few sentences or even a paragraph or two and then add some value of your own that summarizes and asks some questions or adds onto it somehow so that you're not just taking the whole thing and reposting it. Now, the other reason you don't want to do this, even if it were illegal, is that these articles are already fully posted on sites that are much more authoritative than yours. If Google is looking to provide results, for example, here about flex time but being afraid to ask, which is a valid concern that I would think your audience would be interested in following on, and somebody went searching for that, well, Google's not going to link to your article about it because this same article is already posted at National Public Radio. That's a big, famous, well-established, very authoritative and credible source. So as good as this article is, it's never going to show up in the Google results because the same exact article is over at this much more authoritative website, and that's where Google will send people. So that's another reason. This article is honestly not doing you much good at all, unfortunately. All right, so I'm sorry about that, but those are two big holes in your plan here, and in fact, it could actually get you in significant legal trouble. So I hope that as soon as you see this video, you will come in the forum and we can talk about alternatives. And actually, before you do that, you should just take these down. All right, sorry, and that's not the optimistic advice I like to give. Not very inspiring. I apologize. Okay, so let's assume you're going to do that. Let's assume that you have some articles now that are things that you've written yourself or gotten from a licensed source or paid someone to write for you that are custom, something more original, more proprietary and value added for your audience. One of my next comments, and by the way, this goes for the photo also. I hope this is a licensed photo. I didn't go and dig into where this came from, but hopefully you didn't copy that from the article also, because then the photographer could sue you too. You want to only get your photos from stock photo licensing website services like istockphoto.com or Fotolia.com, or you can go into Flickr or places like that and search for photos that are available through Creative Commons licenses that you can share, but then they need attribution and links and things like that. So there's a whole licensing issue here that you've got to grapple with, okay? Now, The next big point I have is, who are you writing for? And that's what, again, with the word telework, I'm not sure who you're targeting. And you talk about when we posted your clinic that you had a couple goals, and your core is to offer people telework info, developments, or laws anywhere in the world. That's a big idea, and I think it's a good idea, but I think you need to narrow it down in order to get some more traction. So let's pick that apart. You want to offer people. Well, do you want to offer people as in workers or people as in employers? Those are two different markets, and it's going to be hard to create a business serving both the customers, meaning the employees, and the employers. They have different points of view on this, and no one person is going to read a blog that offers both, in my opinion. I think you'd be better served to say, I want to help people who are looking for work, or I want to help companies that are trying to hire good workers who will telecommute, or I want to help people in a certain country. This is the rest of your information. You wanted to offer info, developments, or laws anywhere in the world. Well, people in Romania who want jobs teleworking are a very different market than companies and employers in India or Canada or Australia who are looking to hire people in Romania, right? So I think you'd be better served picking one angle or the other. Do you want to serve the employer or the employee? And then I would pick a regime, meaning a legal scheme, that is most popular. So, if you want to be an expert in Saudi Arabian telecommuting, that makes sense to me. Trying to do the whole world at once, I think you're going to spread yourself so thinly that you're not going to get much traction with anybody. I'd rather see you be the king of one angle on this than trying to do it all and kind of drowning in the process, because it's such a large topic to keep up with. Right? There are lawyers who spend their whole career in this kind of law, and there are employing and staffing companies that make whole businesses out of just finding those employees, and there are employers who want to find them, and there are millions of people who want to do that kind of work. Each of those is a very large market, and I think you should pick one. And again, we could talk about in the forum which of those you think has the most potential as a business, but also the one that interests you most as a lifestyle business for you and the interests that you have as an entrepreneur. Okay, let's get back to the site. All right, so as some other folks said, it's a nice, clean site. I think the design is very attractive. It's very impersonal, though. I'd like to see some of you, or at least some photos that look like real people. Maybe you could fake it at least. The graphic is okay. It's not exciting. I think you could do better by having a little more fancy design. I was surprised that none of this was linked. This is such a key section when somebody arrives on a new website. I think these should be links to things. So you don't necessarily want to just repeat the same navigation that you have up here, but I think you need to figure out overall who your target market is, and then 3 or 4 ways that you're going to serve them. And those 3 or 4 ways should be reflected in the hierarchy of the design of your site. So if the first thing you want to do, according to your notes to us, is that you'd like the user to register for a newsletter, for an email list, then I would move up this box here. If that's your most important thing, then put it right there. That's the first thing they're going to do. Eye tracking studies show that when people read, they read in an F pattern. They read across the top, down the left, and then across the middle again. So if you put this up here, they're going to cross that a couple times, and that's how you get them to sign up for the email newsletter. Secondly, since we're talking about the email newsletter, I think you need to offer something. And there was some talk in the forum about you offering maybe an ebook of 10 tips for getting a job telecommuting. Or if you're targeting the employers, maybe 10 things to watch out for when hiring remote workers, things like that. Well, there's another phrase you could use, remote workers. That might work also. So you need to have some incentive. The way this is done is nice and clean, but the only incentive you offer is that you'll respect their privacy. That's pretty much a given these days. I should hope you'll respect their privacy. And I think you need a little graphic of something, they call it an ethical bribe, something that you could give them that would make them go, oh yeah, I want to sign up for that. I can get that free thing. And that's how you build your email list. And as I said, I would move it up. If this is your top priority, I would put it up here. You also, then that would allow these to be some more specific links. They're really not about the author very much. I would like to see more about the author. Who is the author? If it's you, if it's a team of people, some sort of mission is nice. I like this idea. But this could use a photo of a person or a graphic or something just to make it more interesting, right? This is not something that makes me go, oh, I want to read that. What? Tell me more. Another priority for you is you mentioned how you're going to make money, and you've got this store. You did a nice job embedding this Amazon store here. Looks like you're going after the treadmill market desk, which I think is great. I've been thinking about doing that for myself for years. Treadmill desks are a great idea. That is a subset of a subset of a subset of teleworkers, I think, that want that. But maybe your whole thing should just be about that. If that's where your real interest lies, I think there is a market there. You've found several nice products here, and the commissions on those would be substantial, obviously, when they cost $600 or $1,500 or $1,300 or $2,000 each. I bet you could make some money doing that. Of course, there's a fair amount of competition in the treadmill desk market already, which is why I haven't started that blog myself. But if that's something that turns you on, then that might be your focus right there. This about was, again, very vague and impersonal. I think you need some personality. You know, why is this fun? Why should I want to visit this? We can talk more about that again in the forum, but at a minimum, I would at least put a picture. And what you've lost here is that sidebar from the front page that you had. Yeah, this sidebar here. Why don't you put that on the About page? Because that's often the first or second place people go. They find a site, say, oh, this is interesting. Who's behind this? And they read your thing, and hopefully it's a little more entertaining, but then they read that, and then they say, oh, then I'll sign up for the email list. If that promo is here, they could do that, but it's not. And then your contact, very generic. Again, I think you could probably put the contact on the About, and merge those two. If there was a reason to contact you, again, I would like to know a little more who you are and where you are and what expertise you offer. That's what I think is really missing here in your About Us story. Why are you doing this? I mean, you, the guy, why are you doing this? And why do you want to help people doing this? And why should I listen to you? A little paragraph or two about that, even if you want to maintain some anonymity, at least some logic as to why this site exists would be really nice. Because right now it looks very early stage, and it looks like something somebody's just putting up to make money. And nobody really wants to see that. It's really about helping people, right? People want to come to a site that identifies their needs and offers them solutions. So I think you should rethink this a little bit and figure out, who exactly are you targeting? Like, think of an individual, not a whole market, but who's your ideal customer? Again, is it an employer, an employee? Is it a group of people, a little company, a big company? Where are they located geographically? What kind of laws are they concerned about? What kind of treadmill desks do they want, right? Or what other revenue opportunities do you have? And then work backwards from that to figure out what are the blog articles that you should offer them? What will help them the most? And that's how you build an audience. And then state that up front in your author section, in your About Us, your contact, and even in the store. You want to provide things that help those people accomplish the mission that they're on. What's their mission, and how can you help them? What are the solutions that you can provide? And I think if you revisit this, you have a real nice structure. You've got a good concept. You've already even set up your social media outreach, which is great. All of those things will go together, but they'll work a lot better if you work backwards from serving a need that a customer has, rather than your sort of generic need to offer people telework info, developments, or laws anywhere in the world. That's just so broad. You also said you'd like to help prepare single users for telework. Well, that's more like what I'm talking about. How would you do that? That's what I'd like to see some pages and some articles about. Like, if you're targeting people who are just getting into the remote telecommuting workspace, target your articles towards them and your products too. What do I need? Do I need a headset? You know, like, hey, you know, I'm going to be a telecommuter. Maybe I need one of these, right? You could sell those. Or here's some great books. Or you need a treadmill desk. Or what are the tax implications of doing that, right? That's a good one. If you hire foreign workers, we can figure this out in the forum, and I'm sure you have 1,000 thoughts of your own. But being specific about who you're targeting will help you a lot in making this happen. So those are my opinions about your business plan and your marketing campaign. And by marketing campaign, I mean targeting of individual people will help your Twitter, help your Facebook, help your blog reach the people you want to reach. But you have to have the strategy together before you can start marketing. And of course, we can pursue that in the forum. And that will also address your other question about consistency. If you publish consistently helping people with those specific needs, I think you'll build an audience a lot faster than trying to serve the whole world and both sides of the employer and employee equation. So in sum, I would define telework, who you're serving, and then stick to it. Okay? So I hope that's helpful to you, Awais. I'm Scott Fox, and this has been a Click Millionaires Masterminds free video review from our friend Awais, who's from Saudi Arabia, and his new website, teleworkblog.com. If you'd like a video of review like this of your own, well, head over to expertwebsitereviews.com anytime, or you can join us at clickmillionaires.com in our free forum there and upgrade to the Masterminds forum, and I'll do one of these for you in the future too. Thanks for watching. Please head over to teleworkblog.com if you've got questions about teleworking that our friend Awais can help you with. See you soon.